Looks like we're live again. Let's do this. Tonight we're talking about all kinds of things. Chicago, Maryland, Supreme Court, even George Zimmerman again. Didn't tell you about that one, Ross.
No, you didn't, but hopefully we're going to stay away from politics.
All kinds of gun news tonight. Shout out to LTD Combat, keybar.com, keybar.us. Make sure you check them out. And a special shout out tonight to Everyday Carry Life, where you can find the Kenai brand. What's up, Ross?
What's going on, Kevin?
Dude, busy day. Got up early, ran to the range, did a bunch of shooting. Talk about that later, but busy midday. God, people don't realize the daddy part of being an attack daddy is for real.
Oh yeah, man. Tell me about it.
Busy.
We both got the little kids.
They're just
not so little anymore.
Busy, but it's why we do what we do. Part of why we do what we do. Make sure that they're protected and safe and all that kind of stuff. Teaching them the right lessons every day. But let's get into some gun news tonight. Let's start with a video. Shout out to everybody on that's tuning in on Facebook. If you want to see the whole show and you'll be able to see Ross there, make sure you jump on over to YouTube or gun channels. I think we might be having trouble with gun channels again, which I don't understand. There's always something these days. The technical glitches. What can you do? We need an intern. We're throwing it out there. We need a Googler, an intern, a technical expert.
High five on the Googler,
man. We can have it. All right, let's start out with the big story of earlier this week. That again was with everything that's going on in America these days. There's so many other things going on that stuff like this gets overlooked. But let's take a look real quick.
The Supreme Court voted today to uphold the broad-reaching ban of gun ownership for those convicted of domestic violence. Justices rejected arguments from two men from Maine who argued that their acts of violence were committed in the heat of an argument. Advocates for victims of domestic abuse fought for the federal law to be upheld, while gun rights groups argued that men should not be stripped of their constitutional right to bear arms due to misdemeanor abuse convictions. The Supreme Court voted against the men.
There you go. There's the first one. What do you think of that, Ross?
I like how they used the word men at the end. That's what I think about that.
It's crazy. Think about a state like Florida where if the cops get called and it's a domestic abuse case and someone's been hit or struck or claims to be, someone's going in the paddy wagon that night. Period. End of story. Then you're going to go to trial. Then you're getting charged. Then you're going to trial, and now you're going to get convicted. And as a result of that incident, you're not going to have the ability to legally defend yourself anymore with a firearm.
You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't even need to see the judge. You just need to be accused of the domestic violence charge.
Damn it! I closed that tab, Ross.
I hate it when I do that.
You did that to me.
But sorry about that. But I thought that was the premise, and I think if the judge finds you to be a danger to others, such as I don't know, man, it's such a slippery.
It's definitely a domestic violence conviction. That's what they're saying, is that it's gonna make it so that you're then prohibited, just like having a felony, basically.
I'd like to see the statistics, the actual statistics on that, but I'll bet they're higher than you would think.
Wow. We'll see. All right.
Yeah.
This one's actually close to home. Store clerk gets shot in the face and then shoots multiple holes in the armed robbery. Check out this video. This was in Fort Lauderdale. Where's the video part? Here it is. Stand by. The guy's hanging out at the convenience store doing his thing. And he gets rushed hard. Let's see, let me make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So this guy's just at a convenience store chilling, doing his thing. And boom. There is no sound on this one. It's out of nowhere. Here you go. Guy comes out of nowhere, gun in the face, jumps over the counter, chases him. And then all of a sudden, If you look up at the top, that guy that was doing the chasing is now on the ground. The guy that was at the convenience store was a legal concealed carry owner, and he while he did take fire, he shot the dude and put him down. Let's see, he'd already served 5 years for burglary. It wasn't hard to find. Taken to the hospital. He did flee, but his wounds were bad enough that he wasn't hard to find. He was arrested and taken to the hospital. It's another example of video camera catching it in action, and especially again in a state like Florida where there's over 1 million concealed carry permits. You would think that robbing stores would come to an end, but no, they still do it. People are desperate. People still run into stores and start shooting people.
And here's the thing you don't get when something like that happens. How many more people would this guy have harassed or tried to shoot or whatever? It looked like he was going over the counter with a gun. How many more people, if this guy hadn't stopped him, would he have affected? Those are the numbers you don't see.
Well, check this one out. This is the flip side of the story. Is in Kansas earlier this week. A 59-year-old Overland Park man was charged Thursday. It was as we were on air last week, shooting another man in the leg after taking away the gun from the victim. Ricky Paul Smith was charged in Johnson County District Court with aggravated battery. He was also charged with aggravated assault after he allegedly pointed the gun at the other man. Long story short, he saw the guy open carrying, didn't like it, pulled the gun out of the case and shot him. Well, open and concealed is both legal in Kansas, and he didn't do anything that was threatening, according to the article on bearingarms.com.
So it was an overreaction. The guy grabs the gun from him and just shoots him. Well, hopefully he'll suffer the same fate that a lawful gun owner would suffer if we were in the same situation shooting somebody who needed it. You know what I mean?
Do you play the is he carrying game when you see someone with an American flag T-shirt on and things like that? Do you like try to see if the guy's printing?
No, and you know what's funny? I think about it all the time. I think about actually like looking for the signs, the bulges, or any kind of printing whatsoever. But in all reality, I never look for that stuff ever.
You got to, again. One time I was helping a lady reach some water that was up high at a Walmart shelf, and I'm pretty sure I know that when I came down, my shirt kind of like grabbed on top of where I carry appendix, and it kind of grabbed on top there. But I know that the gun was revealed. There's no two ways about it. Other than that, I've never had an issue in public thinking about that I had that issue. Again, if you're a open carry person and you're out there watching the show, have you ever had anyone say anything derogatory towards you, or worse yet, come at you physically? Let us know. Ross,
yeah, that's an assault. At the end of the day, you're being assaulted by that person for no good reason. I mean, other than their irrational fear of someone carrying a weapon. I wonder if they do that to the cops in their area.
The guy's irrational. It says here at the end of the article, get time in prison will hopefully give Mr. Smith time to think about his actions, but it's doubtful that it'll temper his anti-gun insanity.
Yeah, it really is insane, dude. It's insane. And I've heard of other stories. Like I think about a year ago, an older guy with a concealed carry weapon got tackled by some young guy just walking into Walmart. You know, you're going to see that, I guess. People overreact.
Yeah, you're right. We did have that story a while back.
Yeah.
Let's
People overreact. It's crazy.
It is. There's another good story here on Bearing Arms. This guy, he went to kill a couple cops, and the assassination attempt was foiled. They're not sure. They're not 100% clear on the details, but basically he had this jerry-rigged gun, no serial number. There's obviously duct tape holding the stock onto it, Ross. Let me show a picture.
That's always a sign of quality.
Yeah, and not only that, you can see the shell casing that's stuck and malfunctioned. So he went in to kill these two dudes, and the shooting the night before that they're investigating that he was involved with stopped the two targets, the two officers who subsequently shot him and on administrative leave while it's being investigated.
Woof. That's crazy. I mean, and it even says
Check this out.
in the article is someone with even a basic familiarity with firearms would have seen and cleared that.
But not only that, it's plausible that the malfunction occurred earlier in the day when an incident when the dude's 2-year-old son was shot and critically wounded. They don't know if it was a negligent discharge. They don't know if he injured himself improperly stored firearm. We have another article to talk about that later tonight. Or if this guy intentionally shot his kid and then took a gun that was in that shape. Looks like a Franken gun by all means. Is that one of those PMag 50-round mag? 40? What is it? 50 rounds? 60 rounds?
No, dude, that's got to at least be 75 rounds.
No,
the round drum. Oh yeah, because you can put a 40 in a. You can put 40 rounds in a slightly larger than standard mag. You know.
It's hard to see what kind of brace that is, or if it's.
But the one thing I will comment on this is, I'll bet you that thing's meticulously cleaned. You know what I mean? I mean, doesn't it look like he takes good care of that thing?
It's got a nice, big, huge foregrip on the SBR.
Yeah, right.
Dang. It's like if you can make.
I like the duct tape, man.
You like the duct tape?
I do. I'm going to use camo though.
Like some multicam.
Yeah, like multicam. I probably just old-fashioned crap, you know. Man, yeah. No need to get fancy with it.
No. All right, next one up. Judge, here's a return to a story we've covered a million times. Judge has dismissed the lawsuit against Remington Arms by the families of those killed in the Sandy Hook school shooting. This one's over on guns.com. Judge dismisses Sandy Hook lawsuit against Remington. The present, basically the judge, she said that the present case seeks damage for harms, including the deaths of plaintiffs' descendants that were caused solely by the criminal misuse of a weapon by Adam Lanza, the order says. Accordingly, this action falls squarely within the broad immunity provided by the PLCAA. That was signed into law 2005 by President Bush, shields gun makers and retailers from liability lawsuits if their products are used to commit crimes. So they cited something that was already established over 10 years ago. However, they're still open to litigation under certain circumstances, such as negligence, according to an analysis of the law. So that's, I believe, more along the lines of company finds out that if you pull the trigger and hold it for 3 seconds, all of a sudden it's full auto. They know it. They put it out on the market. People start getting hurt. That I would think that's negligence.
Yeah, you can't blame the car manufacturer. We've talked about it before. You can't blame the car manufacturer for the guy driving into a crowd of 30 people. You know what I mean? It's not the car manufacturer's fault. It's hard for me to even understand where that stuff comes from. Like I can blame, you know, your brother's great grandfather for something, you know, he did to my great uncle. Hey, it's just stupid shit, man. You shouldn't ever be able to blame somebody for putting a product out there because somebody misused it.
Dude, I had a good one and I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is for the life of me. Dang it. I came up with a really good analogy earlier in this week, and like I said, it's been a busy day. I can't focus on it. But you're right. I'm glad there's a law in place, and I'm glad that it's upheld things so far.
Yeah, frivolous lawsuit is the way I want to say that.
That gets through, and things are totally different. Things are totally different.
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm going to shut down the phone. Facebook, if you want to watch the rest of this, go over to Gun News Weekly on YouTube. Go over to Gun Channels. Talk to you later. Peace. Say bye, Ross.
Later.
He's out. All right, cool. Otherwise, I'll have that battery going dead in about 2 seconds here, and then.
You know what? I'm gonna pull one on you here. I know we talked a little bit about it before, but it kind of folds right into these really stupid things that happen out in Maryland.
Yeah, go ahead.
A cop was suspended because someone walked by his patrol car and saw an Oath Keeper's hat in the back seat. They said they were offended by it, and then they proceed to tell in this article. They proceed to tell you that when you see a hat, quote unquote, when you see a hat that sends the message, whatever the message is behind the political group, it's unacceptable behavior and prohibited, said the police chief of the Anne Arundel County in Maryland.
That's insane.
Kevin, they suspended the guy because he's got an oath keeper, and then they go on to say,
Wait,
the oath keepers say. You would expect. Oh, well, okay. What is the oath keepers? What is their goal? Well, the Oath Keepers, as noted by their website, is a nonpartisan association of current and former serving military, police, and first responders who pledge to fulfill the oath all military and police take to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, we require them to take this oath before they walk the beat.
Preach, brother.
And Kevin, and a citizen can be offended by that, and the guy gets his career taken from him, or at least suspended at this point. I mean, what? What?
And there's no one standing up for him. No one's got his back.
Nope, nobody. The police chief. Think about this. In your job, your boss is there to shield you from the bullshit, right? I mean, that's what his main function is for you, and get the job done, and blah blah blah. But he's the umbrella for you. This police chief took an oath keeper's hat. She has to know. Let me back up here. I'm assuming it's a she. No, excuse me. He has to know what the Oath Keepers stand for. It's written here. And he's going to just go ahead and suspend the guy because a citizen has a problem with an Oath Keeper's hat. And he's required to take that oath before he can walk the beat.
That citizen must have contributed mighty heavily to the police fund earlier in the year, is my guess. Otherwise, it just doesn't add up.
The funny contrast to this is they're protecting signs for protest groups. That's their main, that's what they've been doing. Over 600 documented checks of, and I'm not going to go into whose they are, but of these groups that are protesting cops, violence against citizens and stuff. They're protecting these guys, and someone actually has a problem with that. It's really ridiculous. It just tied really well into the previous story.
Well, again, all of a sudden I'm looking at my screens, and it's like tonight's show should be called. It's probably The Matrix at this point. Here's the next one, if I may. You remember Zimmerman? You remember the whole case, whether you believe what he did, whatever. And again, let's remember, guy was killed. Guy that was walking around doing whatever ended up dead that night. And again, that was Trayvon Martin. And again, God rest his soul. I'm sure that he didn't wake up that day and say, I'm going to go get into an argument with the guy XYZ. And I'm sure that was not his intent that day. Regardless of what you think of that whole case and how it shook up, the Matrix is here because Zimmerman had an attempted assassination, if you remember. The guy that tried to kill him, Matthew Apperson, has been convicted of attempted murder, firing a gun into a vehicle, and aggravated assault. The trial occurred where? The same courtroom where Zimmerman was found not guilty by reason of self-defense in the killing of Trayvon. The sentence was handed down yesterday, October 17th, for a minimum of 20 years in prison. He claimed during the whole thing that Zimmerman accelerated as he approached Zimmerman's vehicle from behind and to the right. He accessed his firearm because he feared Zimmerman. Then as he came close to him, he saw Zimmerman had a gun. He then shot at him.
Holy smoke.
Turn right. How about that? Go that way. You go that way.
I think the reason we are even bringing this up is because of such a disparity of George Zimmerman getting off and this guy getting 20 years.
The other side of it is this guy saw Zimmerman, chased him down, and started shooting at him, because that's the other side of the story. If you just look at what they say happened, again, the shot missed Zimmerman by inches, shattered glass in his face, cut him up. I mean, that's not.
Dude, don't you know if you're hanging out or around Zimmerman, shit's just going down, dude. You know what I mean? It just he seems to be a magnet for some crazy shit.
He said there was an earlier dispute, and
Mm.
then they were. It was one of those things. There's more to the story. You know this, and we don't have videos. So, but anyway, guys,
Yeah.
go 20
Well,
years. 20 years.
I'm gonna end with this. Karma's a bitch. You know what I mean? And I'm a firm believer that what comes around goes around. Um, I just, if I were in his city, I might move.
Well,
You never
you
know.
might again. Florida, I love it, but I won't be here forever. I promise. I ain't staying forever. It's gonna be like one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it was fun. The beach was close. It was hot all the time. I had a pool. Because guess what the next story's from? Palm Beach Post has reported that two burglars who broke into an Orange County, Florida business Sunday came across the shop owners, and he allegedly held them and tortured them for more than 2 hours before calling the police.
Oh, he got him naked before he did all that.
Ball gags. I bet you he reenacted Pulp Fiction. Remember the first time you saw that scene? You were like, what is happening on the screen? Yeah, that was good. The suspects, who openly admitted that they broke into the shop, said they were confronted by this guy, Robert Antley, the bike shop owner. And he was armed with a gun, but instead of calling 911, held him at gunpoint, made him strip down to their underwear, and then face a wall. After that, he allegedly beat the two subjects and jabbed the gun into their sides while threatening to kill them both. This went on for at least an hour before his brother showed up, and his girlfriend, Josh and Kathy showed at the shop. At that point, Eller and Gonzalez were forced into a bathroom in the back of a shop and beaten for more than an hour. Eventually, he called 911. He claimed he called the police as soon as his brother arrived. They said he would have called sooner, but his cell phone battery was dead. Had to find a landline. Anyway, all five, the two suspects, the shop owner, his brother, and his girlfriend, were all arrested, all on various charges at the end of the day.
I was going to say he's certainly not going to escape assault charges and whatnot. But I find it ironic that they probably weren't there to do good things to him the other way around, and they got their just rewards, I guess.
There's ways to put a beating on someone without leaving marks. I've seen it in movies.
Yeah, boy. I don't know. I mean, they wanted to have some fun with them, and they did indeed.
Oh, God, that's again, give credit at guns.com.
Dude, if you were one of those two guys, you would seriously think twice before doing that shit again.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Hold on, I'm moving around a couple stories. We're gonna have to get political at the end of the night. We're gonna have time.
Oh.
All right, let's go to Chicago first. Actually, let's reset real quick. It's 25 after. Thanks for watching Gun News Weekly. We're here every Thursday night. Please push this out to your friends. Thanks for everybody that's watching live right now on YouTube. We appreciate it. I see the number there is pretty good.
And I just want to give a shout out to Google for not shutting us off yet.
They haven't. I still see a live button. I think we're good.
It's still live. Yep.
Thanks to we also want to mention Grizzly Targets. Got some big announcements coming from them soon. Once again, check out everydaycarrylife.com and get the Kenai gear that we're all talking about because it's awesome. It's better than average. And I actually just got a call from a friend just before the show started. If he's watching, what's up? And looking for one of the jackets. So anyway, they got a brand new 3-gun bag that apparently there's only a few right now, but they're coming and they're going to be here very soon. Hoping to get our hands on one for review, that kind of stuff. So check them out. Also check out keybar.us and check out tacdaddy.com if you get a chance. We do appreciate it. And we got some stories about a couple of our other friends from Head Down and from IWI coming up in just a minute. So.
But that IWI information is good news.
We could talk about that for 20. I could talk about that for 20 minutes. We
Absolutely.
won't, but I could.
No.
You mentioned, let's just continue in the Matrix for a second, because this data that I'm reading, it's like one of those things where you read it and you think about it, you read it again, you think about it, and we're pro-gun guys. We believe you have the right to defend yourself and your family in your castle and on the street where the bad guys have everything. everything that they can get their hands on. Question on this article: why does the city with the strictest gun laws have the most accidental deaths? And basically, the data shows that in Chicago, hold on one second. I want to make sure I read this correctly. Here it is. In Chicago, you're talking about a city with a ton of gun control laws. Basically, you can't have them. And not one gun store, not one gun range, or not one JROTC rifle program, because they dumped that program back in 1999. However, it has the highest number of accidental fatalities involving guns, meaning unsecured, accident, what's deemed an accident. It's not an intentional, I pulled a gun, I pulled the trigger, tried to kill somebody. It was an accident. I want to take a step back. Think about that for a second, Ross. You've been to major cities. You've traveled with job and leisure, as I have, to many different cities around this country. Chicago is enormous. It's a big city by any means. It's in the top 10 for sure, probably 5 size-wise, I think. I could be wrong there. Don't see. We need a Googler. Calling out for Googlers. The Googler benefits, Ross, if they were local, could be fantastic. If they could have had some fun this morning with me, trust me. That was one of the more fun days I had shooting. We need a Googler. So however big, side note, however big Chicago is, it's big. We know this, right? So considering that, there's not a gun store or a gun range. There's not a place for you to purchase, and there's not a place for you to practice.
Herein lies the problem of the entire situation. The gun laws are not there to make it safe. They're there to make it restrictive and prohibitive in such a way that you don't even get, I mean, as far as convenience sake, you don't even get an opportunity to train or shoot on a regular basis because you got to go a long way to shoot.
The study was done between January 1st, 2014 and June 30th of this year. And this is a USA Today and Associated Press poll or study. And Chicago was number one with 28 fatalities out of the total, just saw the total, of 111 in that time frame. They had like 25% basically. The place that has the most restrictive laws where people aren't allowed to be armed, they're not allowed to learn, they're not allowed to be responsibly armed and go to training and that kind of, they're just not.
Well, just think about your first time gun buyer. Just think about that guy in Chicago. Okay. So he gets whatever requirement is necessary up in the communist state of Chicago or city of Chicago to get himself a handgun. What's he going to do? He's not going to drive 150 miles outside of town to go to a range right away. He's going to sit in his house and cycle the weapon and put a bullet in it because he hasn't spent 35,000 hours on the internet watching YouTube videos yet. And he's going to make a mistake. He's not going to know the 4 firearm safety rules because he wasn't taught him when he bought the gun. And he's just going to be your standard new to the tool gun guy.
Yeah.
And we all know that that's that first day. We all know.
I don't think guns that are bought on the street come with gun locks. I could be wrong, but everyone you buy new in a store definitely is. Just a side note, because there's some talk in the article about gun locks and what is safe and what is under the control and that kind of thing.
Well, and I'm sure that leads to a significant increase in accidental firings, accidental discharge in Chicago, which I'm sure leads to an elevated accident rate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a sad state.
It's crazy.
They've made it extremely prohibitive. And if you look at the numbers year to year, they got 1,000 more shootings in Chicago right now, this year, than they did this time last year. 1,000 more shootings this year.
Shootings
in a state.
Killings, deaths,
shootings. Shootings. They're up to something in the neighborhood of like 6,400 shootings this year to date, which is 1,000 more than they had last year at this time. And they have the most restrictive, most prohibitive gun laws in the country.
That's out of control.
I cannot believe that doesn't resonate with 90% of the population. I just can't believe those numbers, that normal everyday people can't look at those numbers and make reasonable decisions off of them.
Yep. I just had a note here. Amy Schumer still sucks. She went on stage in front of Tampa and got political, and half the audience left because they didn't want her.
I heard about that.
I just wanted anyway. That's all we're going to give her. Thanks to Head Down News. Check out headdownnews.com. 4th officer in 2 weeks killed in California. I didn't even hear about this until I saw this article there today. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it continues to go on where on-duty police officers have been shot within the past 2 weeks, killed in the line of duty when the suspect was taken into custody shortly after a different shooting. It's, again, 4 shootings in 2 weeks in California of cops. Not good.
Nope. Right. And think of those numbers. If those numbers were the other way around, some lone shooter taking out 4 guys, you'd have heard about it in the news anywhere, but not because it's the other way around.
You ever heard of the Whitney Wolverine?
Oh God, no. Oh, actually I have. Is that it's a handgun, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
I'm impressed. I tried to throw a curveball at you there.
Yeah, dude, you almost got me. I'm like,
we're gonna talk about guns for a couple minutes because there's 3 or 4 gun stories. So let's go there for a second. The Whitney Wolverine is something I had never seen, but basically, as you can see here, it is a mid-century Wolverine pistol, and you can buy one because one's up for auction at the Rock Island Auction House in Illinois. It has a 10-round mag, 4.5-inch barrel.
It's 22 caliber, baby.
James Bond. Looks James Bond. Manufactured from 55 to 62 by Whitney Firearms Company. Robert Hilberg designed it. There was about 13,000 or more made.
You can put that cool little muzzle device on it.
Yeah, it's like the Buck Rogers ray gun. Check it out. But anyway, it looks like this one. The estimated price at the auction will be $1,100 to $1,400. Comes with the Wolverine box as well as an instruction and warranty card. I don't know if you're a big if you're a big 22 person, that's a pretty expensive 22. You could buy a bunch of 22s for that much money, but I don't know.
It's a collector's item. You certainly don't see them ever.
Maybe it's awesome.
Have you ever seen one?
If your name is Whitney. It's engraved right there. I've never seen one. No, I have not seen one.
No.
Nope.
No. And a lot of people complain about that Glock angle of the grip there. Boy, that thing's got a serious angle on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does for sure.
Oof.
All right, I'm sorry, not Armalite. Armatix. Do you remember a story about that Maryland store that talked about bringing in the stupid gun technology and everyone shunned them and yelled at him and the guy had got death threats and remember that?
Yep.
The guns are back. The guns are back. It's headed to the States in 2017, according to this article. And basically the Mattox IP9 is headed our way. It's a German firearm company. It's a 9mm. It says they're not aiming to replace the conventional gun. Basically, they came up with this thing back when it was a 1300. Remember, you had to have the RFID wristwatch on to be able to fire it. They had the Maryland guy say, "Yeah, I'll sell it," and even though he didn't even get him in, I think there was a big backlash.
Yep, would not trigger. Blah blah blah.
Limited. It was offered in Maryland. Both stores quickly recoiled after backlash from the Second Amendment community. I love that backlash from the Second Amendment community. Backlash from normal people.
No, dude, how about backlash from the people you're serving, your customers?
Yeah. But it looks like it's coming back. 1365. I don't even know how to say this word. Razor says the company is not aiming to compete with makers of conventional firearms that are considered cheaper. arguing the gun is something of a novel design that would spark curiosity among some of the country's millions of guns enthusiasts.
And once they get a foothold, within 10 years, it'll be a requirement, and then they'll be the new millionaires on the block, right?
The owner's selling it like when the Tesla came on the market, they never said they were going to be BMW and Mercedes and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. Looks like the guy's online, and if you want to learn more, go ahead and check that out over on guns.com.
Yeah, I just don't see them being I see them being a novelty at best. And you'll have your states like California and Maryland and probably Chicago and all the real restrictive states will say, yeah, you can get one, but it can only be a smart gun because we want to keep everybody safe. And those will be the only places that will really sell them. And then as that gun control creeps, if it creeps, then we'll see it everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's his business plan.
Okay. Sorry, I was drinking.
That's all right. I'll bet you that Arctic
It's
thing.
cold. I was just going to say, there is a difference. You see how I had to pause there? That's that Arctic cold you can get from the
I had to pause.
God dang. Watch the tape again, man. Woo.
Hashtag Florida problems.
Hashtag warm body equals. All right. Daniel Defense. They're making a big move. Check this out. They're going to drop $18 million on an expansion project in Georgia. They're going to consolidate and expand operations in its Black Creek, Georgia facility. The statement was issued Wednesday. They continued consumer interest in an increase in demand, pushed the company to consolidate its Ridgeline, South Carolina, and Black Creek facilities into one single operation. Quote, this consolidation will streamline our operational efficiencies on many different levels and will allow us to continue to grow our team, said Daniel Defense President and CEO Marty Daniel in a statement. The project is going to feature a huge new facility, 75 new employment opportunities in machining, engineering, assembling, and marketing. They're looking to hire great people, so go check it out.
Good company, too. Good guns.
Yeah. They say it's going to be done about the end of 2017.
It's good to see them. At least their future looks bright enough that they're expanding.
Yeah. This I'm going to screen share. One of the fantastic companies that, again, we're friends with some of the folks over there through Big 3 and some other things. And also, obviously, they're one of our big supporters of the Inspire series. IWI has a big announcement, so let's do it here. This just came out. The Galil is coming, Ross. We first saw this. Yeah, we first saw this in a 7.62 NATO, 7.62 308. If you go back and watch the Big 3 video that I made that time on when we were shooting the Galils at March's Big 3, this was the one I had the most fun shooting with the iron sights, and I was just crushing it. I just had so much fun shooting that gun, I remember. And I don't know, the way that it operates, it's different than an AK, yet it's kind of like an AK, but the way it worked, the way it performed was fantastic. And there you go. You can go to iwi.us to check them out. Also check out the X95, obviously. We're doing some video work on those right now. But it's cool, great, huge announcement that the Galil in 308 7.62 NATO is available.
In the US of A.
It's going to hit the distributors early next week, and the FFL, your local FFL, is a few days later. So there you go. Go check out the latest over at iwi.us. Check them out at iwius on Facebook and Instagram. That's an awesome gun, honestly. In terms of a 308, Ross, badass.
Oh, yeah. I shot it at the spring Big 3. Loved it.
All right, I'm going to try to avoid that until the last possible moment. Let's talk about a couple products real quick. Let's talk for 3 minutes about politics. Oh. They went right into guns into the debate last night. So let's just talk about it real quick. The good, the bad, the ugly. Long story short, Hillary claimed that she's long supported the Second Amendment. She does support the Second Amendment. He claims that he does and that he'll absolutely defend it and make sure that it stays as it is. She says there can be and must be reasonable regulation on top of what she already believes.
That statement alone tells you that she's anti-Second Amendment. You don't use terms like common sense gun legislation. That doesn't come from somebody who's not heavily indoctrinated into the anti-gun propaganda.
Well,
It
here's
just
the
doesn't come
one
from this.
statement that threw me. Quote, when I think about what we need to do, we have 33,000 people a year who die from guns. She doesn't break that down at all. It's just 33,000 people die every year from guns. We know what that breakdown is in general. Then she says, I think we need comprehensive background checks. Well, guess what? They already are.
And she went into the gun show loophole and the
quote,
online loophole.
Comma, we need to close the online loophole, close the gun show loophole. So again, the fact that she's on stage in front of a huge audience of supporters and again, some people that are undecided and then a bunch of people that are against her, but she just rolls out that language. She's already said in one of these things, the online loophole. And either no one has told her or corrected her on this or her team on this, that there is no such thing.
Kevin, it's their job to push the narrative. It just goes to show you that there was no absence of lying. There was a certain absence of the truth last night. Everything I watched was, oh, sure, we love the Second Amendment, but we need common sense gun reform. We need to close the gun show loophole and the online loophole, which is a whole new one to me. I had never even heard of the online loophole, which is now the second one they're going to build the narrative off of and push that out there exactly the way they push the gun show loophole, which we all know, anybody who's been to either online or a gun show knows that you cannot get away from a gun show without a background check. It's not going to happen. And online, it needs to go to an FFL, and you will do a background check at an FFL. There's no way around that.
I explained to my parents the other day at brunch, I explained to them this because they didn't get it. And I said, you understand that every time I've ever gotten anything that has a trigger and a barrel and you would call a gun, I've had to fill out a form, attest my loyalty to the United States, tell them that I've never been a traitor or never been a felon, all these things, and attest to that. They call it, I explained it, they call it in to the NICS check system where they, once again, we'll just go past, I didn't want to get too into that, but I said, which is a federal background check system where they check and make sure that you don't have felonies. And then I was allowed to get that gun and go home because, again, I already have a concealed carry permit, which I went through fingerprints, background check, class, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and
they were dumbfounded. They were dumbfounded. They thought they show up to the front door. They thought the UPS guy brings me guns.
Right. And don't forget the other nasty narrative out there that the no fly, no buy, that you could be put on some arbitrary list somewhere, and for no fault of your own, just because someone felt like putting you on a list, you can no longer exercise your Second Amendment right. I mean, she hit all of those points last night, every single one of them. Yet through the other side of her mouth, she says, but I support the Second Amendment. You can't possibly say both in the same mouthing of the Second Amendment. You just can't do it.
I'm trying to be fair and give both of them equal play here because I'm just trying to be fair, and it's going to sound like we're just everything is. So that's what she said. Now Trump said that he will, quote, uphold the Second Amendment and all amendments, but the Second Amendment, which is under absolute siege. I believe if my opponent should win this race, which I truly don't think will happen, we will have a Second Amendment which will be a very, very small replica of what it is right now. So he's claiming he's 100% behind the amendments and especially the second, Ross. So we know this. We know that the NRA, and he mentioned them again, had given him a very early endorsement. And
they have further endorsed him. They have infused his campaign with significant amounts of money.
Well, commercial ads too. They created some ads that are pretty powerful using some of their spokespeople already that we've seen. So we'll see.
So I've always said the pendulum, right? Everything's kind of works on that pendulum effect, and I think we may, depending upon how things go in the next 20, 18 days, something like that. Maybe the pendulum starts swinging the other way, and we get out of this hardcore, gun rights, and we get more into individual rights. You know what I mean?
I still can't figure out what the issues of the election are, other than the fact that they both suck. And here's what they did, and here's what she did, and here's what he does. I don't understand what the issues of the election are. Like, if someone just came in and was like, all right, what are we voting about?
Well, she said
fucking emails and him grabbing pussy. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't want to I'm watching the clock. We got 1 minute left.
Well, I'm just
no 1 minute left on politics, because I don't want to go become political, because we want to talk about the election. I'm gonna give you a funny. I don't know that gun rights is going to disappear, because I think that's one of the things that they kind of still murmur about, both of them. But other than that, they don't really. That's because I'm listening for it.
Yeah.
I don't hear him talking about energy. I don't hear him talking about schools. Remember how much everything was about the children and about the schools when Obama was running? I haven't heard anything about kids. Nothing.
The only thing this election has proven is that neither one of them are fit to hold office, and we've got to deal with one of them at the end of the day. I don't know, and I know we're probably going over, but I don't know if you've heard about this Russia shit either. If she's elected, we're at war.
That's just started in the last day or two, Ross. I think there's a lot of rumblings towards stuff going on with Russia right now, but let's wrap it.
Yeah. Probably certainly the wrong forum for that.
Anybody want to have a chat later tonight and invite us? Maybe we'll come on and talk to you about Russia. Shoot us a link. Let's talk about guns. Still talk about guns. So, guess what I picked up?
Man, I love that thing.
It's been forever. If you haven't seen any of the videos on the Jack rifle, there it is. Got some work done. Actually, let me get it. You know what it matches, Ross? It matches the Arctic.
Nice.
It actually matches my other rifle from Head Down as well. But this is the Jack from Spikes, and a couple things about this that I want to let you know about. It's got the CAA mag in there, and I use these today, Ross, and they're good. They're just as good as anything else I've been using. Big, huge shout out and thank you to the guys over at Infinite Irons. If you don't know what they are or who they are, check them out on Instagram. In addition to the awesome Cerakoting job in grays, because he kind of said, what color scheme you want to go with? I said, how about gray? He asked me. I said, grays. He didn't go crazy on the skull, but he gave it some good character. If you look at that, couple different colors. And just to give you an idea, that's that Mission First Tactical. I haven't seen that in like a gray. So that's pretty cool to see. What else? Everything else on it was built. You can go check out the video where I went to Spikes and Alex hooked me up and took care of me, and we put this thing together from scratch. But it's a badass gun, and I shot it today, and it just doesn't move, Ross. The other thing that's new about it, or different about it, the other thing from Infinite Irons is the titanium pins, Ross. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but the pins on the front, the takedown pins, are basically these billet titanium pins that he puts in there.
Dude, I love that he did. I love that he didn't overdo it. You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong. I think they all look good.
There's a lot of them out there that are kind of crazy.
But I love the subdued nature of that, and I love the wear he's got on that, like the shiny ridges around the eyes and on the cheekbone and whatnot. I just think that looks awesome, dude. And I don't know if people notice or not, but
what's that say?
He made it his. That's bad, dude. Is that engraved?
Yeah,
it is. Nice, man. That is really nice.
The Spikes Tactical billet, upper and lower, and again with the Jack, the Sharps Brothers collaboration. And then the other thing that I threw on there, on top of a Midwest Industries QD mount, 30 millimeter, is the brand new Spikes. The Black Spider Optics 1x4 with like with the throw lever, and it's the kind where you don't have to take this off and then put a screwdriver in, Ross. You pull up the caps, make your adjustments. They're audible, and you can hear them.
We
and
can't
feel
hear
them. Well, you can hear them and you can feel them.
Black Spider makes good optics, man.
Dude,
they make them right.
Red dot has been fantastic. Had very little issues with it, and I shot this today. It's illuminated. It works with night vision. It's shockproof. Blah blah blah. Anyway, badass gun. A lot of fun to shoot. I got some videos coming up. 6 pounds without the optic, even though it's billet. Nickel boron bolt carrier group from Spikes. Again, just badass, dude. Just badass. So there you go.
I'm impressed. I'm certainly impressed with the job they did on that.
Yeah,
it just looks it just added a bunch to the look of that rifle.
It's cool. It's a showpiece, but it's a functional showpiece. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great. I use it and will continue to use it. Made a great video today. Hopefully, got a lot of good footage. We'll see how the video turns out.
People need to be watching your Facebook feed, because, quite frankly, man, you could have watched all that video today on the Facebook, couldn't you?
Really?
Or I guess it was after.
Yeah, I did shoot that gun on Facebook Live today. You can get that scope that's on there, by the way. TacDaddy.com, $299, Ross.
Yeah,
that's the thing. A 1x4 for $299. And I forgot about one other product that I sold a couple of recently, and I'm getting talk about it. I've been wearing mine recently, and I forgot to have it handy, so I'm running and coming. Bad host. And no, I don't need an intern to be here. I just need the intern, the Googler to be ready. The trackline belts from Core. If you go to TacDaddy.com, go to Shop by Brand, go down to Kore. I just saw a video that had this technology, a TV commercial that had this video technology. They're selling these things for $20 on the online on TV. These are real leather. These come with awesome buckles and a couple different options, black or brown. They're gun belt versions of those ones that you're seeing on TV. And these are $49.99, I believe, or $59. How much are they?
So stiffness on that, how stiff is that belt?
They're $60 actually. There's a couple different versions of it, but the Ross, the thing about it that I want to make sure, it's stiff. They're stiff gun belts.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a liner inside, and actually you can see the liner, because what happens is when you get this thing, it's enormous. So the track line goes on a lot of it, and those little grooves, if you've never seen it, go to the website. It's got all this in there, but they go in there and they get caught up in the system. But you put it to where you want to cut it. See what I'm saying? And when you cut that, you got to go through that thick material that's in the middle, and it's a hard plastic. So for a dress belt need for, and again, I was wearing a dress. I needed a dress belt today, and it was fantastic. I had no problems with it. And I've worn it a couple times along the way. I haven't really used it with outside the waistband holsters. So, but I got a friend who just ordered one as well, so I'll be getting his feedback soon. And, but anyway, check those out, the Core belts. You'll see there's a lot of people that do the videos that you'll see those things out there as well. And what else did we have tonight? I think that's it, Ross. Third debate. Yeah, the debate.
I never want to have to put myself through another thing like that. I was watching this thing right after the debate about this guy on YouTube who gets himself bit by animals. Second worst sting in the world.
Oh, and, wait, I saw that today too. I think our friend put that up, and I watched that right after you did.
Still less painful than watching the debate.
Dude, no way. As soon as I hit that cactus, I'd be like, F that, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he really, I'm not sure. Well, yeah, and the 5 minutes of screaming and yelling on camera, that's always fun to watch.
Well, he wants to build up to the bullet ant.
Yeah, right. Hopefully he doesn't have to go through a herd of cacti to get a bullet ant. But anyway.
I think you can find bullet ants. Dude,
still less painful than watching the debate.
Go put your hand in a fire ant pile. That does not feel good. All right, let's get out of here. Thanks to L2D, thanks to Keybar, thanks to Grizzly Targets. Shout out to Lanzang Tactical. We got that barrel that they helped us give away out in the going to our friend who won, and we'll have more stuff going with them, I'm sure, in the future. What else? Stay safe. Go get some training. Ross,
thanks to everybody in the chat, man. Thanks to everybody in the chat. It's been a great chat tonight. Thanks for everybody supporting the channel. Go to gunnewsweekly.com on YouTube. Check that out.
Yeah, if you're not already subscribed to Gun News Weekly on Facebook, on Facebook and on YouTube, make sure you do that for us. It helps out a lot. I'm trying to build that thing from something that's niche to something a little bit bigger, and you can help. That's all I got, Ross. Make sure you check out everything going on all of our friends' channels as well. Thanks to Frank and everybody that has supported us along the way. And shout out to Schwell. Stay strong, get through your shit, and we'll be seeing him soon as well with questions of the week, I'm sure. But he's got a lot going on and needs a prayer. We got it for you. Until then, Ross.
Peace.
We're out.